The fourth-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide take their 6-game winning streak on the road to Willie Bryce Stadium. South Carolina Gamecocks trying to be upset-minded. We've seen this matchup in the past. I know all too well what it's like to walk in as a favorite to South Carolina, just how hard it is to get a win. This line is about 12, thereabouts right now, 11.5, kind of all over the place. This game's 3:30 Eastern time on ABC. The Gamecocks are struggling right now with offensive futility. They have some injuries that you need to be taken into account for as well. And second-year head coach Kalen DeBoer, this is another massive step for him in showing progress. They've ramped it up the last 4 weeks against ranked competition. His record against ranked competition is well documented. The guy's as good as it gets in big games. But this is another step when it comes to maturity. On the road against a team that you should beat, against a team that you should look good against. But knowing how things have gone in the past on the road against less than stellar competition, Alabama has not always played up to their standard. They at times have maybe sunk down to the opponent's standard, and that would not be good in a matchup against an opportunistic team led by Shane Beamer, who's 3-4, 1-4 overall, 1-4 in the SEC. This is a desperation time for them. They got to have it to kind of salvage their season, but they've had so many struggles on the offensive side of the football. It's going to be hard for them to manufacture something against a defense that has played pretty well and has been opportunistic this season. Question number one, can South Carolina find something on offense? They are last right now in the SEC in nearly every major offensive category. You look at points per game, you look at total offense, you look at rushing offense, and the root of these struggles is an offensive line that has just not played very well. The offensive line has been one of the worst in the SEC. They also have some injuries. They've had multiple starters that have missed some time. You've had some inexperienced players that were forced into action, especially against those Oklahoma. That's not where you want to get your feet wet, is against a defense like that. And the result was what you would expect. 6 sacks, constant pressure. It felt like every play, Lenora Sellers was kind of running for his life. They have surrendered 26 sacks and 50 tackles for a loss up to this point in the season. That's really hard to find any rhythm offensively when you are allowing that much negative play rate throughout the course of a game. And it hampered the development, frankly, of the quarterback, Lenora Sellers. He's super talented, but he's had a hard time. And he's constantly having to operate from collapsed pockets. It doesn't really allow him a lot of time to make plays downfield. He's having to run around and buy time. And he remains remarkably dangerous. And the ground game, they just haven't gotten a whole lot going there. They got to establish some consistency behind a struggling offensive line. I would not be that surprised if they leaned a little bit more on designed quarterback runs in this game. Question number 2. Can Alabama continue to create confusion offensively? Now, Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator, his arrival in Tuscaloosa this offseason has been amazing. They have taken this complex, dynamic offensive system to kind of the next level, and they're just always keeping defenses off balance. They use a ton of formations. They use a ton of motions. They use creative personnel groupings. They are a scheme that is designed to create mismatches and to exploit defensive tendencies. And their philosophy is translated into remarkably consistent production. The Tide are among the best in scoring and passing offenses, and their quarterback, Ty Simpson's been off the charts. So that leads us to question number 3. Can South Carolina's pass rush get to Ty Simpson? Now, their pass defense has been statistically very solid. This will be probably, though, the best quarterback they've played up to this point from a pure passing standpoint, and his decision-making has been impeccable. It's 18-1 touchdown interception ratio. You couple his acumen with what he's asked to do pre-snap with the play calling from Ryan Grubb. Now you have a big challenge defensively to make sure you're in the right look because he's going to see it. If you show it too soon, he's going to see it, Ty Simpson, and they will make the correct play to adjust off the aggressiveness that you're trying to play with. Now, the Gamecocks' best hope, I think, lies with their star pass rusher, Dylan Stewart. Has not been at 100% the last couple weeks. Here's hoping he can return to 100% at some point down the future, but his ability to generate pressure is massive and to disrupt Ty Simpson's rhythm. And when Stewart's on the field, the offensive line is going to always have to be aware of where he's at. You do not want, under any circumstances, for Dylan Stewart to be in a one-on-one against either tackle. I don't care if you have future Hall of Fame tackles on both sides. Dylan Stewart against them in one-on-one is a problem that you have to be mindful of on every single offensive snap. So big for Ty Simpson to get the ball out of his hands quickly, to make sure that the offensive line and or whatever other protection they use, whether it's running backs or tight ends, to help out with Stewart, because that would give him just enough time to dissect the coverage and to distribute the football to a really talented group of wide receivers. This will be a lot of strain on the Gamecocks secondary for 4 quarters if the pass rush cannot consistently disrupt. Question number 4, can Alabama continue to be opportunistic defensively? Look, Kane Womack, their defensive identity is very, very impressive. Now, you're not going to look at the stats. You're going to look at the sack yardage or the rushing numbers. But one thing that they do a great job of is on critical down and distance, in the red zone, and creating turnovers. They are right now +9 in turnover margin. That's the second best in the SEC. And they've been really effective in generating interceptions. We saw this last week against Tennessee when Xavier Brown recognized the obvious pass situation against Tennessee, swooped right in front of the Tennessee wide receiver, picked it off, and took it back to the house. So their ability to steal possessions, to create short fields for their offense is massive to Alabama's winning formula. They have got to be smart, South Carolina that is, when it comes to playing against this opportunistic group. Question 5. Can South Carolina get some must-needed stops on 4th down? Because that's big in this game. Look, Kalen DeBoer, they are aggressive in critical situations. They are 10 of 16 on 4th down attempts. That's more than any team in the SEC. They are very, very trustworthy of their offensive scheme. They're very trustworthy of their quarterback, and they believe in being aggressive when they're just beyond midfield or even in some cases in their own territory. They'll go for it. So I think for South Carolina, if Ty Simpson's not going to throw it to him, which he's proven in the first 7 games, he's probably not going to do that. They got to get some stops on 4th down, which are just as good as a turnover. So that's big. On 4th down, when Bama decides to roll the dice, South Carolina has to step up in those situations and make a play. I'm taking Alabama, but I would not be surprised if this is a low-scoring, close, competitive football game for 3+ quarters. Probably lean towards taking the points in this one. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do think Alabama prevails in what will be a gutsy win on the road at Willie Bryce.